Empire Tales. Persian Empire, Rise of the Kings of Kings. The desert wind whispers across ancient stone, over ruins that once stood at the center of the world. There was a time, long before modern nations, long before empires rose and fell in endless cycles, when one power stood above them all. A realm so vast, so organized, so visionary, that it redefined what an empire could be. This was the Persian Empire, a civilization not built only on conquest, but on unity, not ruled only by fear, but by vision, not remembered merely for war, but for changing the course of human history itself. Its story begins with a man, born not into greatness, but destined to create it. His name was Cyrus. In the rugged lands of ancient Persia, surrounded by mountains and harsh wilderness, tribes struggled to survive. Small kingdoms rose and fell, locked in endless rivalry. Power belonged to whoever could seize it and hold it by force. But Cyrus saw something greater than domination. He imagined unity. He envisioned a world where different peoples, different languages, religions, and cultures could exist under one empire, not as slaves, but as subjects protected by law. When he rose against the Median Empire, the dominant power of his time, few believed he could succeed. Yet his victories came swiftly, decisively, almost unbelievably. City after city fell before him. Armies that once ruled vast territories collapsed beneath his strategy and leadership. But what made Cyrus different was not simply that he conquered. It was what he did after victory. He did not burn cities to the ground. He did not slaughter entire populations. He did not erase the identities of those he defeated. Instead, he allowed conquered peoples to keep their customs, their religions, their traditions. He ruled not by crushing diversity, but by protecting it. This was something the ancient world had rarely seen. And because of this, his empire did not merely expand. It endured. When Cyrus captured Babylon, one of the greatest cities on earth, the world watched in fear. Babylon had known conquerors before, and they always brought destruction. But Cyrus entered the city in peace. He restored temples, freed captives, allowed displaced people to return to their homelands. To many, he was not a conqueror. He was a liberator. And with Babylon under his rule, the Persian Empire became the largest empire the world had ever known. From the Indus Valley in the east, to the Mediterranean Sea in the west, from the deserts of Egypt to the mountains of Central Asia, an empire of astonishing scale had emerged. Yet this was only the beginning. After Cyrus came rulers who would shape the empire into something even greater. Among them was Darius, a king not only of war, but of organization, structure, and vision. If Cyrus built the empire, Darius perfected it. He understood that conquering land was one thing, governing it was another. And so he transformed the Persian Empire into a masterpiece of administration. He divided the empire into provinces, each governed by officials who answered directly to the throne. He built roads that stretched thousands of miles, allowing communication to travel faster than ever before. At the heart of this network was the Royal Road, a highway that connected the vast empire from end to end. Messengers could carry information across continents in days instead of months. Trade flourished. Cultures interacted. Wealth moved freely. For the first time in history, such an enormous realm functioned with remarkable stability. Darius also introduced standardized coinage, making commerce easier across distant lands. He developed taxation systems, legal structures, and engineering projects that astonished the ancient world. Under Persian rule, infrastructure expanded. Agriculture improved. Cities prospered. The empire was not only powerful, it was efficient. Yet greatness always draws resistance. To the west, the Greek city-states watched with growing concern. They saw Persia's vastness, its wealth, its unstoppable expansion, and they feared it. Tensions rose. Rebellions erupted. War became inevitable. The Persian Wars would become legendary, clashes between a colossal empire and fiercely independent Greek warriors determined to resist domination. Massive armies marched across continents. Fleets of ships filled entire seas. Battles echoed through history. Struggles not just for territory, but for identity, for survival, for the future of civilizations themselves. Persia won victories. Persia suffered defeats. But what remained undeniable was its overwhelming scale. Even when challenged, it endured. At its height, the Persian Empire was more than territory. It was a network of cultures: Egyptians, Babylonians, Persians, Jews, Greeks, and countless others, all living within one imperial system. Different gods were worshipped, different languages spoken, different traditions preserved, and yet they were bound together under one authority. The Persian kings carried a title unlike any other: King of Kings. It was not arrogance, it was reality. They ruled rulers, governed nations, commanded lands so vast that traveling across them could take months. Their capitals, magnificent cities filled with towering columns, intricate carvings, and grand ceremonial halls, symbolized power beyond imagination. But power, no matter how great, is never permanent. Generations passed, wealth accumulated, splendor grew, and slowly, something else emerged: complacency. The empire remained enormous, but maintaining unity across such vast distances became increasingly difficult. Local revolts stirred, rivalries deepened. The weight of governing half the known world strained even the strongest systems. And then, from the west, came a new force: a young king from Macedonia, driven by ambition, military brilliance, and a vision to surpass all who came before him. He marched east toward Persia. Battle after battle, the once unstoppable empire faced an opponent unlike any before. Persian armies were vast, but fragmented. Leadership faltered, momentum shifted, and eventually, the empire that had ruled the world began to fall. Its capitals were captured, its territories absorbed, its kings defeated. The age of Persian dominance ended, but its legacy did not. Because the Persian Empire changed something fundamental in human history. It proved that empires could govern diversity, not just suppress it. It demonstrated that infrastructure, law, communication, and tolerance could hold vast civilizations together. It showed the world that power was not only measured by conquest, but by organization, vision, and the ability to unite humanity across borders. Even after its fall, its systems influenced future empires, from Rome to later world powers who adopted its administrative genius. The idea of a connected world governed across cultures, that idea began here. Today, the ruins still stand. Stone staircases worn by time, relief carvings depicting kings, warriors, and delegations from distant lands, remnants of halls where rulers once commanded the known world. Silent, yet powerful, they remind us that history's greatest empires are not remembered only for their battles, but for the worlds they built. And among them all, one rose first, vast beyond imagination, a realm of vision, unity, and kings who ruled kings.